Imagine reducing chronic knee pain by over 60% in just 8 weeks without injections, surgery, or expensive treatments. Thousands of adults in their 50s and 60s have already done this through targeted muscle strengthening programs, backed by clinical research in Japan and the United States. These programs work because they focus on strengthening the muscles around the knee, instead of just treating the joint itself. If you're over 50 and struggling with knee pain, this could change everything for you. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any life-changing health information. Drop a comment below telling us your age and where you're watching from because we love hearing from you. According to the Arthritis Foundation, over 30 million adults in the United States experience knee osteoarthritis, with risk rising sharply after age 50. But here's the encouraging news. Research from Tokyo and Boston shows that specific strengthening exercises can restore knee stability, reduce inflammation, and rebuild confidence in movement. Today, we're uncovering 5 exercises that directly strengthen the muscles supporting your knee and help you move with confidence again. These exercises are simple, require no equipment, and can be done at home. Many adults over 50 are told knee pain is something they must accept as part of aging or manage with medication alone. But the 5 exercises we're sharing today show how targeted muscle work can stabilize the knee joint and give people back years of comfortable movement. The level of improvement from these exercises often exceeds what medication can provide on its own. So many people feel like they're doing everything right, but still living with knee pain that quietly limits their confidence. That's about to change. 2. Most people believe the pain lives in the knee joint itself because that's where it hurts the most. But the knee is often just reporting a problem that begins in the muscles and joints above and below it. That reframing alone is relieving because it explains why so many stretches and treatments never quite solve the problem. This misunderstanding leads older adults to focus all the attention on the knee, when the real issue is muscle weakness and poor alignment from the hip and ankle. They ice the knee, rest the knee, even brace the knee and feel temporary comfort. Meanwhile, the true instability quietly remains. That explains why the pain always comes back after a few days of feeling better. Here's another layer that gets missed after 50. The knee is what we call a hinge joint. It really only bends and straightens. But the hip and ankle are the joints that control where that knee bends and how much pressure it experiences. When those surrounding muscles weaken with age, the knee suffers the consequences. This happens even when some days feel fine and others feel unbearable, even when activity levels seem similar. The key here is to remove blame from the body. Aging muscles do lose mass and coordination, but that does not mean damage is inevitable. It means the strategy must focus on retraining the right muscles at the right time. Fear often keeps people from moving at all. When pain feels unpredictable, it's hard to trust your own body. Fear creates guarding and tension, which only makes the knee stiffer. Older adults shorten their stride, avoid stairs, and hold their body rigidly without realizing it. That rigidity increases joint stress. Once they understand what's really happening and which muscles need attention, the body often responds quickly. That response is powerful because it gives people back control. It turns knee pain from something mysterious into something they can actually work with. Knee pain is the body asking for stability and strength in the right places. When you learn where that strength comes from, relief becomes a process rather than a mystery. The body can respond much faster than you might expect. Sometimes the first sign is not less pain but more confidence in the knee during movement. That's the brain realizing the joint is supported again. And when that happens, healing accelerates. When the brain feels safe, the body is ready to rebuild. The very first exercise is so simple that people often underestimate it. But this first step is essential because it reconnects the brain to the quadriceps muscle, which is the primary stabilizer of the knee. This exercise is called a quad set. Sit on the floor or on a bed with one leg out straight in front of you. The other leg can be bent for comfort. Then tighten the muscle on the front of the thigh, the quadriceps, as if you're trying to push the back of the knee down into the floor. Focus on holding that contraction for about 3 to 5 seconds, then fully relax the muscle before repeating. The goal is not force, but control. Many people have what we call arthrogenic muscle inhibition, where the brain shuts down the quad muscle to protect a painful knee. This exercise re-wakes that connection. It's very common to not feel your quad working at all even when you try. But that's not permanent. This isometric contraction works because it requires no joint movement. So there's no pain or fear to trigger inhibition. As the muscle fires repeatedly, blood flow improves and the neural connection strengthens. Many older adults notice the muscles starting to twitch or contract more fully within just a few repetitions. Perform about 10 repetitions of 3 to 5 second holds. If that feels comfortable, you can do 2 sets of 10 or even 3 sets of 10 throughout the day. There's no harm in doing more as long as the muscle is not cramping or feeling overly fatigued. Once you can fire the quad muscle voluntarily and feel it working, the knee becomes ready for the next step. This is also when some notice less swelling around the knee because the muscle pump helps drain fluid. Now here's where we begin to add movement while keeping that quad control strong. The second exercise is called a straight leg raise, and it builds directly on the quad set we just practiced. Start in the same seated or lying position with one leg straight. First, perform that quad set, tightening the quad and locking the knee straight. Then, while keeping the knee locked, slowly lift the entire leg about 12 inches off the floor or bed. Hold for 1 second at the top, then slowly lower it back down. The key here is control, not height. You don't need to lift higher to make it count. Lifting the leg while keeping the knee completely straight requires the quad to work harder, especially the part of the quad that also helps flex the hip. If the knee starts to bend during the lift, that tells you the quad is not strong enough yet. Go back to more quad sets first. Stop if the knee feels sharp pain or if the lower back starts to arch excessively. Some people try to compensate by using their hip flexors too much, which can strain the back. The focus should remain on the quad doing the work. Start with 10 repetitions on each leg. If that feels good, work up to 2 sets of 10 and eventually 3 sets of 10. Many adults over 50 benefit from doing this exercise once or twice a day, especially before walking or standing for long periods. And if you're finding this helpful so far, make sure you hit that like button and leave a comment telling us how your knees are feeling. Don't forget to subscribe because we share powerful health strategies like this every week. The third exercise is called a short arc quad, and it uses a small object like a foam roller, a rolled towel, a firm pillow, or even a blanket placed under the knee. You don't need a gym or expensive equipment to progress. Sit or lie with a foam roller or towel placed under the knee so the knee is bent about 10 to 15 degrees. From that position, fire the quad muscle to straighten the knee, lifting the lower leg up until the knee is fully extended. The heel comes off the surface, but the back of the knee stays resting on the foam roller the entire time. This movement isolates the quad beautifully without stressing the joint. Because the knee starts in a slightly bent position, the quad has to work through a range where it's often weakest in older adults with knee pain. This builds strength exactly where it's needed most. Perform the movement slowly, taking about 2 seconds to straighten and 2 seconds to lower back down. Once that strength starts to build, the knee starts to feel more stable during everyday movement. Once the quadriceps is firing well, the next step is to balance that strength by working the muscles on the back of the leg. The fourth exercise is a bridge, and it strengthens the hamstrings and the glutes, which are essential for knee stability during walking and standing. Start by lying on your back with both knees bent and feet flat on the floor about hip-width apart. Arms rest down by the sides. From this position, squeeze the glutes and hamstrings to lift the hips up toward the ceiling until the body forms a straight line from the shoulders to the knees. Hold at the top for about 3 seconds, then slowly lower back down. 2 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions work well, resting about 30 seconds between sets. The focus should be on squeezing the glutes hard at the top and feeling the hamstrings engage to lift the hips. If you feel this mostly in the lower back, that tells you you're arching too much and need to focus more on the glute squeeze. The glutes and hamstrings control how the femur, the thigh bone, rotates and aligns over the knee. When these muscles are weak, the knee often collapses inward during movement, which increases stress on the joint. Strengthening them restores proper alignment and takes pressure off the knee. Once you master the basic bridge, you can progress to a single leg bridge by extending one leg out straight and lifting with only one hip and hamstring. That version is more challenging but builds even greater stability. However, that's optional and should only be attempted once the double leg version feels easy. There's one more muscle group we must address. This final exercise stabilizes the hip from the side, which is critical for preventing the knee from collapsing inward during walking and turning. That lateral hip strength often makes the biggest difference in how the knee feels during daily life. The fifth exercise is called a side-lying hip abduction, and it strengthens the muscles on the outer hip that control knee alignment. These muscles are often severely weak in adults with knee pain, especially after age 50. Lie on your side with the bottom leg bent for support and the top leg straight. The head can rest on the arm or a pillow. From this position, lift the top leg up toward the ceiling, leading with the heel, not the toes. The movement should go slightly up and back, activating the glutes on the side of the hip. When you lead with the toe, you often use the hip flexor instead of the glute, which defeats the purpose. Imagine pulling the heel toward the ceiling and slightly behind the body. That ensures the lateral glute is doing the work. You should feel the muscle contracting right on the side of the hip, almost behind it. Start with 10 repetitions on each side. If that feels good, work up to 2 sets of 10 and eventually 3 sets of 10. Some adults like to add a resistance band around the thighs for extra challenge once the movement feels easy, but that's optional. When the lateral hip muscles are strong, they prevent the knee from caving inward during each step. That change reduces stress on the inner knee by more than 40% according to research. It's one of the most important exercises for long-term knee health. Once you have these 5 exercises working together, quad sets, straight leg raises, short arc quads, bridges, and side-lying hip abduction, you'll often feel a dramatic shift in stability and confidence. But there's one trap that can undo all of this progress, even when the exercises are performed perfectly. There are a few common mistakes that come from good intentions. The first one is doing too much too soon, believing that more repetitions or heavier resistance will speed up healing when in reality that approach inflames the knee and sets progress back by weeks. Another mistake is performing these exercises with poor form, especially letting the knee cave inward during leg lifts or bridges. That misalignment reinforces the exact pattern we're trying to fix. And the third mistake is skipping the exercises on days when the knee feels good, when in reality those are the best days to build strength and prevent future flare-ups. None of these mistakes mean you're failing. They simply show that patience and proper form matter more than intensity. When exercises are done correctly with control and consistency, the knee often feels better within 2 to 3 weeks, and strength continues to build for months. Progress itself is healing even on difficult days. When pain returns temporarily, it's not failure. It's simply the body asking for patience and continued effort. If you've made it this far, you're serious about taking control of your knee health, and that's incredible. Show your support by hitting that like button right now. Leave a comment below telling us which exercise you're going to start with today. And make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on so you never miss our next video. We've got another powerful video picked out especially for you, so click on it now and keep building your strength and independence.